Hi Aries, this is your mid-January 2019 reading. Happy New Year to all of my listeners and hope you're having a great start of the year because we have Mars back in our sign. We finally have the vitality back, the energy to make things happen, which was lacking last month, is now slowly coming to return. We also have 4 planets focused on our career this month. So this is the month all the way to mid of February to make changes that we have been looking to make. And hopefully the first eclipse that happened around 5th or 6th of January, which I talked about in a separate video, it initiated a change that you've been looking for, because that happened in your house of career, that happened in your house of leadership, bosses, authority figures. So some sort of change has been initiated. But what's happening is that the first half of the month is very different from the second half of the month. That's why the title of the reading, because this is a very Jekyll and Hyde kind of a month, where the first half of the month is very much under the influence of Saturn. It is under the influence of following the rules, making sure that we're working hard to make things happen, making sure that this new start that you're having in your career, or this change in the structure, authority figure at your work that's happening, or the way you want to make money, that change that's happening, or your legacy that you're trying to create, the changes in that, you give it 100%. And there is no doubt that throughout this year you'll have to do that. When Saturn is in our career house, it asks for the dues, it asks for us to put everything into it, and it asks us to perform very well into it. It gives the rewards which are commensurate to it as well, to the efforts that we put. So it is structured growth which happens through our efforts, but at the same time it is when we are under our thumbs down. We are under the thumb of an authority figure. We are following the rules. We are trying to comply with what has been said. We're trying to comply with the authority. We're trying to commit to what has been given to us. And that is how the month started, because Saturn is the dominant energy at the start of the month. But what happens is that the second half of the month, the Hyde side of us wakes up. Because that's just it's not the and I believe the story of Jekyll and Hyde in a different way on a psychological level, because we have both sides as a part of us. We have this conformist side of us who wants to have achievement, who's ambitious, who wants to do well, who would in circumstances can make everything work under the rules, who can make it happen and who will make it happen under the rules. But the other side of us is awoken by Uranus. Uranus has been in our sign for the last 7 years, and it has been waking up the Hyde side of us. And Hyde side of us isn't the side of us which goes and murders people. That's not what I mean. Hyde side of us is the free side of us. It's the side of us that we don't want to repress anymore. It is the side of us which is actually brilliant, but because of conformity sometimes we suppress it and we make things work in conformity with the authority, in conformity with the rules, and we try to not break the rules. And Uranus comes and it breaks the rules. It comes and it wants to restructure, reformat everything that would give us freedom, and that is a inherent part of us. It is not something that is a separate person. It is a part of us that is waiting to burst out. And the second part of the month will see the Hyde part of us show up, and this Hyde part of us, which should not be repressed, will add creativity to this new side. We have to look at it in the way that it is affected. We have to look at a way to sort of integrate both sides of us, this both personality of us. Even in the original story of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, the writer said, though so profound a double dealer, I was in no way a hypocrite. Both sides of me were me in dead earnest, which meant that he meant it when he was one of them. He meant both sides of us. We are thoroughly both sides of us. The one side of us who wants the achievement, who wants to reach the heights, who wants to do well, who wants to create a legacy for ourselves for long term, and the other side of us, which is the adventurous side of us, which wants to take a risk, which wants to be known for his creativity, who doesn't want to make dullness the way of life, who wants its eagerness, its energy, its vitality, its sort of a progressive thought process to come out in its creative work in the world. And integrating these two parts of us will be the theme of the first 3 months of this year, and how to make this new freedom, because Uranus has become a part of our DNA now. The first couple of years when Uranus entered our sign, which happened at the start of the decade in 2010, were sort of volatile years. Slowly and over time, Uranus has taken away the things in our life that was taking away our freedom. Whether we liked it or not, Uranus caused sudden changes over the course of last years in our life when it was in Aries. And it does not, none of our generations are blessed with that, because Uranus comes in a sign only in 84 years. So Aries have that advantage, that Aries of our age and our generation, they sort of have that wild trump card in their life, that Uranus has sort of completely revolutionized the way they live. Now that it has become a part of our DNA over the last 7 years by making so many changes in us, we want that to be integrated in our personality going forward, in our practical life going forward. It doesn't have to be an experience that happened and then nothing came out of it. Something has to come out of it. So this month, the second part of the month, Uranus wakes up and it's making contacts with all these planets. It's making contacts with karmic nodes. So there'll be sudden events which will happen, certain surprises to some extent that will happen either at psychological level or at a physical level, that will suddenly break up and break out this part of you who does not want to just follow the rules, who wants to be more, who wants to be more adventurous, who wants to take out this new side, does not want to hide the Hyde side of us. Because the issue with that story, if you're aware of the tale of Jekyll and Hyde, was that Hyde was a part of Jekyll only. But it was the freedom-seeking side of him which was repressed. And because it was repressed, it manifested in a very negative way when it came out, because it broke out like a volcano. So this second eclipse that's happening on 21st of January, it is a go-getter wild eclipse. It's happening with Uranus in your sign. It's happening with karmic nodes. It wants to break out this Jekyll, this Hyde side of us, to sort of make a point, to make sure that you're free, to make sure that you're enjoying what you do, because Saturn alone sort of suppresses our creativity to some extent as well. It's great to set up boundaries, but what happens to our creativity in the process of it? How do we agree to this new start of us without integrating who we have become over the last couple of years? That is the lesson of second half of the month, and you'll see that play out in different ways in your life, either in actual changes in what you do, because the new start that you've had at the start of the year is going to undergo changes. It will undergo changes in its structure. Saturn is not visible in January. It will only be visible in February. So when it becomes visible in February, you would modify the structure of this new start to include this Hyde side of you, this freedom-seeking, wild side of you, the creative side of you, who wants to do things his way, who wants to bring creativity to his life. And at the same time, you learn how to integrate these two parts of you to make it available in your day-to-day life. So that is sort of the overview in my view at a psychological, and I'm sorry, this reading will be a little bit more psychological focused, because I thoroughly believe that this change can only be successful, can only happen if at a psychological level we unblock what's stopping us to integrate these two different parts of us, because they are in conjunction, what is called as an in conjunction. The two eclipses that are happening, one at the start of the month and one at the end of the month, they are what we call as an in conjunction with each other. When two planets are in conjunction with each other, eclipse points are in conjunction, they have nothing in common with each other. One is a earthy, grounded eclipse who wants to just create structures and rules around it and sort of wants you to work hard, and the other is the Leo. It's the king, it's the creative, it's the giving birth to something that has your stamp on it bit. Now those two parts have nothing normally in common with each other, but they are part of you and they need to be well integrated for you to be successful. So that is sort of what will be happening over the course of this month. Let's look at certain dates in the second half of the month which are of relevance to you. The first date that I like to highlight to you is around 18th of January. I think that is a brilliant date. It's a power day. You should use that to have a conversation. In fact, after 16th of January, even from today, around 10th or 11th of January, you'll see your power surge because Pluto kicks in. When Pluto kicks in, we realize our true power. We sort of get this confidence boost that something's got to change. Conformity may not be the rule of the game right now with Pluto kicking in. So 18th of January is a power day to have a great discussion, have a powerful discussion. In fact, 18th of January is also a surprise day. There might be certain surprise encounters that might bring out this powerful side of you. So be on lookout for that if you want to schedule something on 18th of January. Even if you don't schedule, I feel some sort of surprises are in order on 18th of January. The other day on which you might expect a surprise to happen is 23rd. I know expecting a surprise to happen, but it's like being planned to be spontaneous on that day. But yeah, 23rd of January is another day when you can expect some amount of surprising discussion. Now, after 16th of January, as I said, Uranus comes into action. It's squaring the nodes, it's squaring Sun, it's just going to square Mercury. So both our mind and body and our ambition will undergo certain changes because of unblocking of a psychological factor, or because of encounter with somebody who'll unblock us and tell us that this side of us that we've been hiding behind, we've been thinking that it's the Hyde side of us, it should not come during our work hours, it should not come out in our day-to-day work. This is a side of me that I want to keep behind the bars, and this encounter brings that out mainstream. So those are the dates to watch. I find the dates from 22nd to 28th very, very beautiful, very lucrative, very, very ambitious, and very much on track to start you on a new adventurous journey, because Venus and Jupiter, the two great benefics, they're sitting in your positive karma house and they're coming together on 22nd of January, and then they come together with Mars in your sign. So you act to get the adventure that you deserve, you act to get the education you deserve, you act to get the expansion that you deserve around those dates. You get this impetus to just go after it because you don't want to feel bad about any side of you. You love every side of you, and when you love every side of you, whether it is the wild side or the conformist side of you, you are able to make things happen which are completely different. That's why we have South Node in your career house this year. We have South Node in your career house. When South Node happens in career house, people leave things. But Saturn is there, so you're going to create something for long term. But there's a part of you on how you deal with your career, on how do you make a legacy, on how do you deal with authority figures, that has got to go and change. And South Node in your career house will make it happen. We also have North Node in your 4th house, so there are some family related blockages which will have to be cleared as well as a part of it, because you cannot go and do something in the external world without your personal life handled to some extent. So we'll talk about that in the detail part of the video. I will cover both the first and the second eclipse as a part of this video, because the first eclipse is one of the 3 that's happening this year. So the talking in detail on the first eclipse for your signs specifically beyond the video that I did will give you a flavor of what's going to come in July, what's going to come in December, and how this change will pan out over the first 6 months of the year. So let's dig into the details of things. As usual, I'll leave timestamps for you to come back to, and then we can do further together. I look forward to having you with me in 2019. I try to do these videos as often as I can, and I hope that you find this of value to you. Thank you. Starting from the start, let's talk about the first eclipse that happened right off the bat on 5th or 6th of January, which will continue to have an impact all the way till 2nd of July 2019. We'll see the immediate effect of that eclipse over the course of next couple of weeks. When Saturn becomes visible, specifically around first 2 weeks of February, you'll see the full effect of that come through. That is a new start in your career, a new start in your leadership, a new start in the authority authority figure that you are at the place of work or in your own business. You're essentially adding to your reputation during the course of 2019 by launching something new. Either you're changing a career or changing the way you handle your career or changing a position in your job place, or the hierarchy in your own business is undergoing changes. The way you do or run your business as an authority figure, as a leader, is undergoing changes as a result of that eclipse that happened on 5th or 6th of November, 5th or 6th of January. Now that is a very much the start of something that will continue to be the theme of 2019, because we'll have 3 eclipses in that area. The second eclipse will happen in July and the third one will happen in December. The difference in this eclipse is that it is kick-starting something with Saturn. So there is something that is coming your way with more responsibility, with greater power, with greater public visibility in terms of your reputation, but it is coming at a cost of something, because there's a south node element to it, which means there's something that needs to be emitted out, that needs to be released for you to be successful in this career. And over the course of next couple of months, as you execute this new responsibility, you would realize that the structure of this job, this new responsibility, this new business will undergo significant changes, because Saturn currently is not an active participant in this. It is an active participant with Sun, but was away from this eclipse. It will only visit this eclipse on 5th or 6th of February, when the structure of this new start will become more clear to you. And Saturn will revisit this eclipse 3 times during the course of 2019. It will revisit it on 5th of February, then again on 1st of August, then again on 1st of November. These are trigger points when something new regarding this new start in terms of the boundaries will get laid. And the boundaries will be in terms of what you should be doing and should not be doing. Boundaries will be to protect you, boundaries will be to promote you, boundaries will be to distinguish you in this responsibility, so it can help you in getting to the next level in your career. Saturn is your friend when it is in Capricorn. It is trying to help you. It is trying to build you up. But it requires you to put in the effort before you see the recognition. So if the effort was already put last year, if you started a new position around December of 2017 or early part of 2019 when Sun and Saturn first met in Capricorn, then you might have seen a recognition come through as a result of that, as a result of your work of last 1 year. But Saturn is very conservative. It does not want you to get into too many things. It wants you to prioritize. It wants you to purge. It wants you to declutter your schedule. It wants you to declutter the number of projects that you're in, or if you are in a business, the number of products that you focus on. It wants you to sort of declutter that to create something very specific, to be very clear in what your value is, on what your proposition is, on what are you focusing on, what are you going after. It wants you to create a narrow focus. And because of Mercury also being in Capricorn, your thought process is able to process this requirement. Your thought process, your written communication, your verbal communication is able to create the business plan, a career plan that is very focused. And I will request you to use that all the way till 24th of January. Mercury is very happy in Capricorn, even though it is a subtle way, it is a thumbs down way, it is like being under the thumb of an authority figure, but you need that to lay down the strong foundation. Saturn comes in your career sector only once in 29 years. You're creating a legacy for yourself. You're creating a career for yourself that will be long lasting. Mercury being in Capricorn is your friend right now. Your thought process, your written communication is your friend right now. So create the business plan, create the development plan, create the strategy, create the product launches, which will help you be distinguished in your offering to the world. It is a time of recognition and responsibility. It is a very ambitious new start. There are 4 planets sitting in your career house, And they are in the sign of ambition, Capricorn. They're in the sign of your career reputation. They are in the sign of your standing in the world. And this will continue during the course of 2019. But what happens is that when Mercury is in Capricorn, it tends to create pressure in our mindset. It tends to dampen our mindset because you are being put into pressure so you can reduce the number of things you're focused on. Pressure being high doesn't mean that we spread our wings in 10 different directions. It means that we need to get focused so we can sort of get specialized in something. It would be sober, it will be practical, it will be methodological, but you would realize the true value of structure in terms of getting you where you want to go right now. And this is something I would request you specifically. There are dates now where we can take advantage of that, because Saturn makes a contact with Mercury on 13th of January. So the next week, right from now, 11th to 15th of January, is the time for us to take advantage of, create certain plans, create the structure, create the documentation that you think will lead you to the next level. And this is not going to be easy because Mercury is squaring you, so you'll see increased activity, increased effort. Overall communication and routine will require a lot more out of you, especially if you're April born. If you are a Aries sun, or if you're Aries ascendant or moon, then the later degrees, 10 to 30 degrees, will experience this pressure of increased activity, overall communication, routine requiring more of you, growing over the course of next couple of days, all the way till 24th of January, when Mercury moves into Aquarius. And then it's the time to move and socialize your plan with the rest of the group. So after 20th, 24th, we start moving out in the world and showing our plans. Right now you are with yourself. You're trying to create this plan within yourself. You're trying to stay with yourself. You're trying to go subtle, go inward a little bit, and create the solid foundation that you need to be able to come out. And after 20th you come out, and the energy becomes easier after 18th or 20th, because the sun starts making a positive aspect with you. Right now sun is sort of challenging you, so you might feel a physical challenge to some extent, because it tests your physical vitality, it tests your goals, it sort of tests your perseverance, it tests your identity, your confidence right now, because it wants you to shed the old skin. It wants you to shed the sort of fluff around it, and it wants you to make an impact in the community that you are in. It wants you to commit to a path, decide whether you want to stay with this career path or not. We only realize all of that when we are under pressure. That is the reality of things. It's not about you. It's not about me. I'm an Aries sun and moon as well. This is the reality of the way we operate. Aries is an expansive sign. We like to start things. We love to start things. If anybody wants to move mountains and wants somebody to get excited and started with it, they call the Arians. But to stay with it in a longer run is a mountain goat's job, and that is a Capricorn. We are being asked to integrate this Capricorn qualities into this new start, which is to stay with something for a longer period of time to bring it to fruition, because we'll be distinguished as a result of that. Now, defining your identity, of course, I mean, at this point in time, setting up the goals, it is the start of the year, we naturally do it, but having so much focus along with an eclipse in your career side, setting the goals, where do you want to go, how do you want to manage the authority figures, if there's a hindrance in terms of handling the authority figures to get approvals, to get your recognition, what is the strategy to go about it? Your mind is in an authority figure mind right now. You will be able to figure out ways to handle authority figures right now if you put your mind to it. And this is not a surprise. This is something that you've been preparing for. This is something that you were aware of, because Saturn entered your career house about a year back. So it's just that now the exact implementation of it and rolling out of it is felt by you, especially if you have any planets around 12 to 18 degree of Aries, which means your birth date is around 2nd to 8th of April if you're an Aries sun, or if you're Aries moon, then say 12 to 18 degree, or Aries ascendant. Now for Aries moon specifically, this is felt at an emotional level. So it will tend to put an sort of a pressure on your inner security. And inner security might, to some extent, might become an issue for you to sort of handle it right now. What are the habitual habits? You need to break a sort of habit of a relationship with your past that needs to be broken for you to move forward, because South Node requires certain behavioral aspects to change. This square that's happening from Saturn to you, the hard aspect of square that's happening to you, which is from your house of authority to how you are showing yourself to the world, that square is asking you to question the part of your personality that isn't allowing the full public acceptance of you. If there's some part of you that is holding you back from claiming the limelight, it will bring to focus that over the course of next couple of days. You'll see that come out with Mercury meeting Saturn. You'll gain the recognition of it either through discussions with an authority figure, or either through a discussion with somebody who's older and more experienced with you, and you're encouraged to make friends with authority during this time. Friends with authority to figure out where the gap is for you to get there, if you feel there is a gap, or just an older and experienced person to figure out how to get there, how to get the ambitions that you desire, essentially. And ambitions are high right now. Your desires are high right now. So if someone puts a light on that, someone sort of tells you, he's helping you right now, and that might happen through a conflict. That might happen through a conflict with an authority figure, because this is not an easy aspect. Mercury and Sun in an authority figure is squaring you. So there is a possibility of a conflict with somebody in an authority position, which highlights the gap from where you are to where you want to be, which highlights what is your body language, what is a part of your personality that you're showing to the world. This is not about who you are. It is about who you're showing the world you are. And where is the gap between that and what you want to be? That is highlighted, and you have the whole year of 2019 to bridge that gap. Doesn't mean it will take that time, but I'm saying that Saturn allows time. Saturn is not Uranus. It is not a sudden change. It is something that you are required to learn over the course of 2019. The other thing that Saturn does is, it is also opposing your home and family. So there's a need for your, it will come at a cost of your time to some extent with your home and family. So you'll see that you need to balance the two over the course of 2019. But the key to success in 2019, as I spoke in the full year 2019 video, as well as the last couple of months, the focus is on creating more focus on your emotional fulfillment and your family. So even though Saturn is requesting you to give your karma, give your effort, you will continue to work hard, it is asking you to detach from the title you're getting over there and attach yourself more towards how emotionally fulfilled are you in your situation, and how your family and your set is taken care of. This is a year where you need to take care of yourself and your family, your personal fulfillment and your family, and not compromise that at an expense of making others happy. That is the theme of 2019 for success. And you'll see that when your foundation is taken care of, when your emotional self is taken care of, when your confidence is taken care of, when your emotional foundations are taken care of, then you'll see that reflect at the top itself. You'll reflect that in your outer world. And that's why I said a little bit of this reading will be about psychology, because when fourth house is the house of growth, emotional life is the area of growth in a year. That is a year in which we need to dig deeper. And it is something at the pace that life goes right now, it's not easy. So I'll suggest you to do something which is it goes against my own grain. I'm an Aries as well, which is to look back to your childhood, which is to look back to your relationship with an authority figure in your personal life, because that will unearth some kind of unhealthy or unproductive attitude that is blocking your progress. Now, this is not something that is typical of Aries. Aries move on. We like action, and Mars is in your sign. It is the month of action, but Neptune is in the 12th house. Your respite from it all is to give yourself moments of solitude from the crowd. Saturn and Neptune, they're meeting together. Neptune is in the house of solitude, which means that you will feel relieved when you move yourself away from the crowd. You will immediately feel the relief. Doesn't mean that we need to become a recluse in 2019, but you'll feel the relief come through, and that relief will come through because you can spend that time to unblock this. There is an unlocking of psychology that is required because there is an attitude in your foundation. And I'm sorry, I know people hate this when we say, I am a mother myself. I hate it when somebody says, oh, your childhood is responsible for something like that. Parents do the best they can. I thoroughly believe that. But there's always something in the foundation that gets buried because that is a part of us we don't remember very well. We live in the moment and that is how we should live. But sometimes you have to dig beyond the moment to figure out where is the crack in the foundation. And that crack in the foundation is important to find. Eric Sullivan described this as a present form in marble, which everybody is admiring, but they cannot see a hidden person trapped inside the marble. There is a part of you trapped inside which has not been set free either because creativity was not very encouraged in the childhood. Self-expression maybe was not very encouraged during the childhood, or it just did not come at the time. There is some amount of unhealthy, unproductive attitude that we need to unblock to be able to be shown in the world as a leader. It will show up at the top part of your chart if the foundation is taken care of. I'm sorry, I'm spending a lot of time on it, but it is something that is highlighted so very clearly in the aspects, not just in January, but during the course of 2019. And we have Saturn, Pluto, South Node working together in your career house. You're meant to gain status as a result of you handling something psychological in your foundations this year. Neptune unfortunately puts a cloud on our unconscious habits, and Saturn wouldn't have it. So there are certain unconscious habits we'll have to unearth this year, and some of it could be part of being very self-sacrificing. Have we been compromising ourselves way too much, and that has been putting us back? That has been putting us on the back foot, and it shows up everywhere when we are doing that because it shows up in our body language, it shows up in our being the kind of authority figure we are. It shows up as a blockage in the way we can express ourselves. It shows up in our creativity. Was the self-expression not encouraged? Again, I'm going back to the childhood because that is the time. Early childhood is the time when certain foundations of how we react to authority figures are sort of laid down. So what degree of self-expression was encouraged at that time? And liberation of creativity and liberation of this issue can only happen when we realize that we are actually cast in stone. As I said, Eric Sullivan described this as a present form in marble, which everybody admires from outside, but they don't see that there is a person who is crying for release, for liberation, casted in that stone, casted behind that marble, and we are trying to bring that person out. That is the Hyde within us that we need to excavate out in a productive manner, and that is somebody who does not realize that he is behind the wall right now. And that is why the internal work is very important right now. Neptune does not help there. It is the height of creativity. There's a lot of faith that Neptune is infusing in us this year. It's adding a lot of acceptance to what's happening right now, or the changes that happen over the course of last couple of years. Neptune helps soften us to the losses, soften us to people going away. It softens us to some of the unconscious fears as well. But the blockage that Neptune creates is that it creates a sort of a veil around our unconscious behaviors that stop us. What is not letting you go ahead and publish your work? What is not letting you go to the next level in your career? What is the fear of this failure that is ingrained somewhere that is not able to bring the inspiration that you need into the talents that you want to present to the world? So it is sort of Neptune in the 12th is essentially, when these are hidden issues, these are normally inherited issues, like belonging to a family who does not think talking about yourself is a good idea, or advertising yourself is a good idea. Those kind of things, those kind of things that are, you'll see that clearly in certain people that exists, and in some does not exist. Aries will not never be pegged for people with less confidence, but this is a very different aspect of it. It is not about confidence. It is about self-expression. It's about something that we were told in our foundation is right or not, in terms of putting ourselves out in the world, that needs to be unearthed and put to bed so you can bring your talents out in the world. There are 3 synods that are happening in January and over the course of 2019 that will help you do that. The first synod that is happening actually on 31st of January, and it will repeat 3 times during the course of 2019, is Saturn and Neptune working together. And you'll feel that from the middle of the month itself. Now, Saturn is all about debunking the false, debunking the fake. Remove the fake, remove the fluff. Tell me what the real issue is. Neptune is ether. Neptune is sitting at 30,000 feet, dreaming about inspiration of what can happen, what God wants, what is my inspiration, what is my faith, and on the basis of faith, everything will work out. Saturn is asking you to tell the truth of some of these things that are holding you back. What is the practical application of my faith? What is the how can I bring this inspiration that I have, whether it is in its spiritual realm? Maybe you do something which is or you've been trying to do something which is in the spiritual realm, but you don't know how to make that your profession, how to bring that out to the world in form of publishing it, in form of bringing, this is spirituality. This is not religion, this is spirituality. There is a difference between the two. Bringing your spiritual experience in a practical manner in your career, practical manner as an inspiration in your career, bringing the intuition that Neptune has given you over the last couple of years, the intuitive sign that you are, how to bring that intuition out in your practical touch it, feel it world is what Saturn will allow you to do that, and it will unlock a door for you to be able to make use of it. Now, this is a sextile aspect, which means that it's a tool available to you. It will not automatically happen. You'll have to make use of it. You'll have to be mindful enough. That's why I suggested, I know we say this, but it's something that you should try this year. Try meditation, try going inward periodically to be able to unlock something in you, and thinking how you can bring it in your practical life. How can I bring my faith in my practical life? And because of this aspect, as well as because of the second synod, when Jupiter and Neptune are together, and Jupiter makes everything big. So Jupiter is going to make sure that your faith is big this year. The faith in your future, the faith in your ability to take a leap of faith is big. It will make sure of that, which is excellent, because we will not be able to do anything this year without having faith in it. Faith is our manifestor this year. In fact, you should try this year, try for a day if you can. I mean, law of attraction is something that people talk about in general in life to be good for your manifestation power. But try this year, because of the aspects working for you, thinking something positively in the direction that you want to go. You have such manifestation power because of Jupiter being so strong this year in your area of faith, that your faith in something can make it happen. You can try that. Try it out on 1 day basis. If there's something that is not going right in your career, try that for a day and imagine that those things are working fine, and you'll see this change in your body language, change in the way you operate, and hence the change in the way people are reacting to you. This is such a productive energy. We have Saturn in the sign it should be. We have Neptune in the sign it should be. Jupiter in the sign it should be. So it's luck, inspiration, and discipline all in perfection, working together. They are all interacting with each other. So when Jupiter and Neptune comes together, we are able to break through. We are able to break through the cycle, this side of it, this unconscious fear essentially that is stopping us from bringing our work to the world. We want to bring our work to the world. Jupiter wants to make sure that you take the leap of faith and you present your talents to the larger audience in the world. Now, whether it is in form of publishing, publicizing yourself, making sure that your skill sets are highlighted at a larger scale to the world. Or it could be in form of you actually taking an education. You are expanding the frame of your influence and work and knowledge. That could happen in form of actually taking a course or going into a career that expands your mind. Or you can go into acquiring more mentors, going for travel, interaction with foreign people, dealing more with foreign people. But the net result of all of it is expansion of your frame of mind. And Jupiter does that once in 12 years because it is giving you the tools that are required for you to be successful in career. Jupiter will be in your career sector in 2020. In fact, from December 2019, and I'll slip in a secret there, Jupiter and Uranus will be meeting around 5th or 6th of December together. That is a windfall coming through in the house of your money, in the house of your value, because of these tools working well for you. Because Jupiter, as soon as it enters your career house, it's making a trinal aspect, a positive aspect with Uranus, which comes with sudden windfall of money or worth. I don't know what is the magnitude of it that will happen. It will depend on your individual chart, but it is a very lucky aspect. It's happening on 15th of December 2019. And that is the change that happens as a result of you developing tools over the course of 2019. That brings me to the third aspect, which is Jupiter and Uranus. They are not yet in the aspect they should be. They will be at the end of the year. Jupiter and Uranus is a breakthrough aspect. It is an aspect of innovation. It is associated with the breakthroughs in form of new technological developments like, I know it feels frivolous, but if you look at it over the course of last couple of years, launch of iPad, launch of iPhone. It happened under Jupiter in Sagittarius, and then Jupiter meeting Uranus is when iPad was launched first. So these are the kind of breakthrough things, groundbreaking discovery sort of things which happen when Jupiter and Uranus work together. Now they are working together this year, but they are working in something which is called sesqui-square, which means that these two are there together. The breakthrough is there, but you will see that there will be some delay in being able to access that. And the delay, as I said, the enthusiasm of getting there will be very high, but there's a discretion required in terms of timing of release of information to others. You need to be discreet in terms of sharing your innovation with the world because you are not yet ready. And that's my point of view from looking at this aspect, that Uranus has changed you, but the way of this changed you, how to introduce that at a wider scale, is something that you need to learn over the course of 2019. How to have mass acceptance of it, acceptance from people who are different from you, of this innovation in yourself that you have done. That will take time over the course of 2019 to come through. So sesqui-square is sometimes frustrating because of that, because you are so ready to go, you're so ready to be launched, and you seem to have all the tools, you seem to have gone through all the turbulence, and you have this fresh new start, but it will take you time to get there in terms of the innovation of it all. But you'll see it doesn't mean that the successes don't come, because Jupiter is meeting other planets during the course of, just that the breakthrough element of it, the sudden success, the sudden windfall that feels sudden but is not, because you've been working on it for quite some time, that sudden windfall of revenue from it, acceptance of it, worth of your talents, is more of a theme of December 2019 to 2020. That is what I'm trying to say. So these are three key synods, as they call. They shape the political system, they shape the geopolitical system in the world. Like Saturn and Neptune are known to bring a new ideology into a political system. They are linked with the decline of communism. So some may question that when the synod ends in 2025, maybe communism will be back. I'm not a mundane astrologist, but that is that is the kind of, it makes an ideology and it makes it into a reality. This is manifestation aspect. The second aspect, Jupiter and Neptune, is about diffusing your boundaries, so you can diffusing your fears, so you can launch yourself to a wider audience. This emotional boundaries, the fear of failure that you're holding, diffusing that to some extent and debunking the fake here. So you can sort of find within yourself that there is a blockage which was not letting you take this opportunity. Jupiter and Neptune, they are known to diffuse the psychology of the masses. It was linked with the rise of Hitler. It was linked with the rise of Roosevelt. So it is a slow diffuser. It is not a discretionary planet. So it does not tell you whether what's diffusing your mind is right or not. So there is a high likelihood of taking a wrong mentor as well, or a wrong ideology, or becoming fanatic about something that does not have long-term legs. That's why we have Saturn in your 10th house. That's why there is an authority figure within you, outside you. That's why I said that you should take guidance of somebody who's well experienced in the field that you're venturing into, who can tell you the reality of things, or you need to get real about it, and Saturn will help you get real about it. So Jupiter and Neptune is a hard aspect. So as I said, I mean, you don't know whether it is Hitler or it's Roosevelt. It's a positive ideology or a negative ideology. You'll see in the political system people taking a small thing and making it into a big ideological conflict. I won't go into the politics, but like a wall, for example. I'm just saying that this is an example of it. And I am not from the United States, so I'm not so clued on to what is right or wrong in that fight. But it can make it bigger than it is. And then, do you truly believe it or not? Carried away by a fanatical plot is sort of the folly of Jupiter and Neptune together. So, and the third is of course Jupiter and Uranus together, which needs to bring innovation, a breakthrough, a quick development of events. But the quick development of events will come only in December, after we have done we have enjoyed it. We have enjoyed the adventure of it. After we have enjoyed the adventure of it, Jupiter wants you to enjoy the adventure of the ride that's happening in 2019. So this is the overview of pretty much of 2019, more detail added to it as I thought it fit. Now let's get into the exact aspects now that are happening. One of the key aspects that is happening today, and which will continue to have an impact, is that Pluto is coming into picture. Pluto is sheer power. So the first 10-15 days or till now of the month has been under the thumb of Saturn, authority figure. Now Pluto wants you to get a strong will. You'll feel it in your bones, especially if you are you have any planets around 20 degree of Aries, or if you're born around 10th or 11th of April. Take 3 or 4 days, so 7th to 14th, say. You will feel it in your bones. The motivation to move up, the wanting to be in control. You don't want to take anything less than what you deserve, which is exactly the mindset that should be. Pluto wants you to make up your mind. It has done the work that it needed, especially if you're on 20 degree Capricorn. It is sort of regenerated. It is in the process now of regenerating your career. And in order to do that, it is creating a motivation, this ambition in you to discover the resources to move to the next stage. It is transforming your work identity. Pluto is a very long term, 2008 to 2023 is when Pluto is in the career. So it works on specific degrees for a long time. So if you are around 20 degree of Capricorn or 10th or 11th of April born, it has already been working on you for the last 1 year. And it will continue to take time. So it takes time, but the effect that it has on you is sort of irreversible. It completely redefines you as an authority figure, and it does not stop till you're fully in power. When you have dug deep enough to pull out the strength to be the authority figure that you deserve to be, it will keep on psychologically working on you. It is the farthest planet. It is the slowest moving planets in terms of who we consider in astrology. So it digs deep in your psychology to make sure that you come to power. On a practical sense, apart from the fact that you get this commitment, this sort of the motivation to be more, watch out for power struggles and control issues that come with it, because Pluto makes you obsessed about where it is, and it makes you obsessed about being ambitious, being successful, being sort of the leader that you want to be. But a lot of people in your surroundings will not like this new you, this new powerful you. So just be careful about that. You may care about it, may not care about it, but you don't want to burn bridges at this stage, because you're trying to create something at this stage. 12th and 13th, this weekend, we have Moon in Aries. This is the weekend of personal reset. You'll feel this reset on Monday when you come back, that you have had a personal emotional reset to go into this new phase. And we need that because Saturn and Mercury are meeting together on 13th on Sunday. You are setting clear plans. You're working on the documentation. You're purging the old. You're putting down the rules. You sort of taking inputs from experienced people and getting the support. And your psyche is sort of ready for it. You're getting ready for it. And Mercury is meeting Neptune on 14th on Monday. It's creative, it's intuitive. You'll feel it's a very, very good weekend in my view, from the aspects that I can see, to lift your spirits and to get ready for the next phase. And we need to get ready psychologically for the next date, because on 16th onwards, Uranus starts coming into action. Sudden shift starts, and we need to be ready to respond to them. And that's what I'm trying to do. Uranus is meeting Sun, and it's meeting the North Node and the South Node 16th to 20th. Specific dates are 18th of January, when Sun and Uranus are meeting. That is a sudden day, a sudden encounter day, and it can happen a day or two in advance. So from 16th of January onwards, we need to sort of be ready for some sudden shifts, to respond to certain sudden shifts. And the shifts here will make sure that something with which your karma is finished, that moves away. Whether it is a style of you working in a situation, the way you respond to authority figures, the way you handle something, because Uranus is on 28-degree Aries. When it turned direct on 6th of January, it turned direct on 28-degree of Aries. This is the degree of debunking the fake, debunking the insecure within us and outside us. It's freedom from fake. So there is a psychological stirrup, a waking up mentally, physically, after sort of a period of waiting for a change for last couple of months, because Uranus was retrograde. So changes were on hold. Changes were more psychological, more inward. Now you want to see external changes which reflect the new person you have become. So if there's anything fake in your outward reality that does not match the inward new person you have become over the last couple of years, that has got to be released. That has got to go. It's an exciting, radical change of work environment. A period of uncertainty will be there, but it's been building up. And it can also very much show up in your personal life. If there is a mother figure, authority figure in your house, with which you know something has been brewing, something has been happening, something has sort of been developing, and you have not been able to say your piece, have not been able to come to a conclusion. This is a karmic conflict coming your way. A karmic conflict that will resolve this for once. Symbolic astrology, I'll explain this because it will make it very, very clear on what are the aspects. So this is happening with South Node at 29-degree Capricorn, which is a degree when a dissatisfied sculpture. So there's a sculptor who has made a mold of himself. He's very dissatisfied with that mold. He's disheveled. He's put in a lot of effort, but he's dissatisfied with his work. He throws a large clay mold of himself into a pond of water, and as he watches it dissolve, a new approach emerges. This is how it's reflected in symbolic astrology. You are not happy with some existing mold of either your personal authority, the way you are with a personal authority figure, or with an authority figure in your workplace. And the relationship with them, the interaction with them has got to change. And you are getting over certain psychological insecurity which was affecting you physically, which was showing up in your body language. You get over that. You have to get over that to handle it appropriately now. And the aspects will sort of force you into it, because 29 degree of Aries is where Uranus is when this aspect is happening, and that there's an urgency to it. This is a cardinal T square. It wants to act. It has to do something to put this to rest for once. And North Node is in 29 degree of Cancer, so emotionally you have analyzed both sides. You're confronting something head on. It's a very bold, directional, realistic approach that you're taking, but it's driven from a place where you've had it, where you've sort of done with it. You don't want to, there's a part of your personality that was not letting the Hyde side of it, the creative, the full potential, the public acceptance of you to come out. You want, and somebody puts a light on it, whether in your personal life or professional life, and now you want to handle it head on. On a positive side, this could be something that might help you in your career. On the other side, there might be something either professionally and especially personally, I feel it could lead to a conflict. And this, again, I shouldn't say it negatively, because this is something that you need. It's karmic, it's destined. It is something that you need. A blockage needs to be removed for you to move forward. And it's coming with Chiron. So there's a healing of sorts of your hurt, of your loss that comes with it. Somewhere in the past, you have not acted the way you wanted to be the authority figure at your workplace or in your personal life. And now you act to reclaim that, and that sort of heals you psychologically, because there is an element of psychological healing required to make sure that does not manifest in form of diseases of the body, right? Diseases of the mind leads to diseases of the body. So if there's something that is sort of hounding you, pressuring you, it's like a pressure cooker aspect, and something bursts out because it has to, otherwise it hurts the body inside. This aspect is especially potent for the people who have any planets around 26 to 29 or 30 degree of Aries, which is if you are an Aries sun born between 17 to 21st. In fact, all the way till 14th of April, if you're born, you'll feel this very, very potently, this wanting to break through from the existing mold, dissolve the existing mold. But as I said, from breaking the existing mold, a new imagery immediately appears, a new path appears by breaking an old one. And that is what is being helped on 18th of January with the other aspects that are forming, because Venus and Jupiter, they are both making a beautiful aspect with Mars going forward. First Venus and Mars are meeting together. This is you getting the courage to get the vision that you have, you getting the courage sort of to enhance the vision you have, because the formula to success this year, apart from the balance of your career and your home life, is Jupiter. And Jupiter is sitting in your house of adventure, house of expansion. It wants to expand the frame of your mind by exposing you to different arenas of life. And you should do that proactively yourself, because Jupiter is not a discretionary planet. It wants you to go out and meet a set of people. It wants you to step out of your comfort zone and interact with people who are different from you to learn new skill sets. It could be in form of formally taking a certification, formally going for education, or it could be on the job education, or it could be in form of you interacting and trading with people who are different from you. It could be in form of finding clients who are of different background from you. It could be in form of making friends with people who are completely different from you. But you are expanding your sphere of experience and knowledge, and you're using your right brain more in 2019. You're expanding your right brain, which is more related to pattern sequence, which expands more by being in practical life, by being in interaction with people. This is the higher mind that we are developing, which will help you become the leader you deserve, because Jupiter will then from December onwards will expand your career further. After you streamlining your career, after working hard on it, the benefits, the fruits of it come with these tools, these people, this set, this arena that you're expanding. This is what helps you expand your relationship to collective. This is the year when it's not meant to be a hermit year. because Neptune in 12th, it makes us deluded about the fact that we alone can do everything, but that is not the reality. We need to recognize that we need other people to be successful in our life, and they are the sort of the things that the people are, your surroundings give you the tools to success in your career. So I mean, it is going to be very, very tempting to be alone, is what I'm telling you. Even though as a fire sign, this is not our natural self, but Neptune in the 12 gives you relief when you're away from people, because you feel less dissipated, because Neptune is trying to reduce your boundaries with other people. So you feel that people are encroaching on your boundaries when you interact with them, but that is little bit of purpose of Neptune, that our relationship to collective is sort of has to be enhanced, and we have to find the right balance between the two, of being with other people and enhancing our knowledge as a result of that, and then giving us the requisite solitude so we can recover, so we can work on our craft, so we can sort of work on our spiritual aspects and our faith aspect, and recover and regenerate as well. So with Venus being in the same area as Jupiter of expansion of knowledge, there is something touch it, feel it coming to life as a result of that on 18th of January. It is sort of a windfall that is coming at the end of the month, I feel, in the area of 9th house, which is the house of adventure, which is the house of journey, which is the house of education, either a certification coming through, or you getting an opportunity to get a new learning, you getting a new mentor, you getting a sort of an opportunity on the job to learn something new through a project coming up, or you getting a new job opportunity where you sort of get the experience that you need, or you getting new idea for you to interact with a new set of people, or you getting ideas to publish, to bring your work out to the people, which will help you interact more. Net effect of what's coming your side are three. One is more interaction with the wider audience. Second is you finding faith and purpose. You finding a purpose, a direction in life. And third is expansion of your knowledge, expansion of who you are. This has to add to you in terms of your skill set, in terms of your higher knowledge. So these are coming together. The first, Mars sort of expects you to act on this new vision you're getting, with Mars and Venus working together on 18th. Then on 22nd, Venus and Jupiter, this is the luckiest day in the sense, because these two are benefics. These are the most benefic planets. They're coming together for the first time in 12-13 years in your house of adventure. They will set something to motion because of your action, because of you unlocking the psychological hindrance earlier in the month between 16th to 20th, that the second half is about enjoying the fruits of doing the work. So 22nd of January is when Venus and Jupiter. Now this is all happening around 11 to 16 degrees. So if you're born between 1st or 2nd of April all the way to 6th or 7th of April, you feel this energy very strong towards the second half of the month. This proactive sort of energy, taking you to places, taking you to a new journey, taking you to a new ride of sorts of your life. This visionary ideas that you're getting, as I said, I mean, Jupiter in this house brings visionary ideas, like ideas of iPad and iPhone. At the time, it might have sounded frivolous of launching of a new kind of phone, but if you look back over the last 12 years, that has changed and revolutionized how we handle information. And that is exactly what Jupiter does. So if you are in a business of information sharing, of publishing, of writing something about which you are a subject matter expert, this gives you an opportunity to bring innovation to the world. Mercury and Pluto are meeting together on 18th as well. Now this is the power aspect, and especially if you have planets around 11th of April, this is mega power. This is mega power of thought for you to move up. The tools, the discussions that you do, this is the powerful discussions, the intense thinking, the sort of almost the finding the solution to some sort of problem at work, and having the most intense, the most top up kind of a discussion which sort of puts you into focus. Use 18th to do that if you are born around 11th of April, or if you have planets around 20 to 21. Pluto has been sort of giving you a hard time for the last 1.5 years. If you're born around 11th of April, even all the way till 14th of April, you can feel Pluto coming already. So it has been working on you psychologically to embolden you, to be able to put your talents out in the world. This is an opportunity on 18th of January to have a discussion around it, have sort of the thought process around it, meet the right authority figures for it. Then we have on 21st and on 20th of April, Mars and Saturn. So there might be, as I said, there is a conflict brewing with the authority figure, but you might be able to break a boundary as a result of that. Now this, especially for people born around 4th of April, or if you have any planets around 14 degree, very potent day, 20th and 21st, and this will be a little bit of emotional days because Leo moon is there. Leo is, although a positive aspect with you, but Leo moon is a over the top energy. It's a drama energy a little bit because it gets a little bit into self pleasure to some extent. It's self-indulgent to some extent. So we indulge our emotions more when Leo moon is there. So when 20th, 21st, 22nd, you'll feel that an eclipse is on 21st. The emotions before the eclipse is a build up to eclipse. A total lunar eclipse are very, very high. A total lunar eclipse creates and I don't have to even know astrology for that. We know this from geology and astronomy that eclipses create tension in the fluids, right? I mean, lunar eclipse, moon rules the water, rules the seas and the oceans. So lunar activity affects their motion. So the surface tension of the fluids is very, very high when eclipses happen because of the electromagnetic changes in the air. And that we are made up of mostly of fluids. So the physical stress and the tension that you'll feel, you have to manage the nerves. You have to manage the nerves as a build-up to the lunar eclipse, and as a fact that Uranus, the planet that rules nerves and electricity, is in your sign. So the electricity going through our body, through our nervous system, is fairly high. That's why when a lunar eclipse happens in Leo, we always want people who have heart issues or who have high blood pressure issues to manage that as a build up to the eclipse in Leo, which is happening on 21st of January. That is just, I'm sorry to say, but I'm just telling you in case there is something like that. And before that is Moon in Cancer, 19th and 20th. The build up to 21st of January will be emotional. 18th is a very, very powerful and intense day. So that brings us to the 21st of January when we had the full moon, and it is a super moon. All the full moons from January to March are super moon, which means that moon is closest to earth. It is going to be emotional. It is going to be affected at a psychological, emotional level. We're trying to complete certain old chapters and start new one, which take everything we got. And this is coming with North Node. So something is gained in a creative arena. This is happening in your area of joy. This is a full moon of joy, which is coming after you doing the inner work. This is completion of the last 1.5 years of your effort to bring your passions out and not leading to, not sort of getting sucked into conformity with what the larger populations want. This is fruition of you giving your creativity the respect it deserves. You realizing what your passions are, you realizing sort of that you want to make a mark in the world, that you want to bring your creative passions, your joy, your love, your hope, your happiness, your purpose out in a touched feeled form. And this is a full moon of giving birth. Full moon is about culmination. It is about childlike joy and passion of releasing something that you can feel happy about. So after we have added some innovation to it, after we have got some amount of emotional freedom from our blockages, we are able to flow freely from it. We are able to flow our creativity freely from it. Now this is a Leo eclipse, so when a fire eclipse happens, the energy is very strong, the energy is hot, the energy is actually physically hot. When last it happened in August of last year, it actually led to a drought, but it was also the heat wave, the summer at the time in large part of the world. So but it comes with a heaty aspect, and we are a Mars dominant sign, which is already exposed to inflammations. So this month, because of Mars being in our sign and because of this eclipse, we need to be a little bit careful of heat, body heat, inflammation in the body. Especially around this time, Mars will be in the 10 to 20 degrees of Aries. So if you have any planets between 10 to 20 degree of Aries, or if you're born in the first 10 days of April, you need to manage body heat actively at the time. But this is a beautiful, beautiful full moon. It's coming with a breakthrough in the level of your self-expression. So something gets done, something gets rewarded to you for your creativity. Now, this could be in form of you actually launching a business, because you're giving birth to something after getting over an emotional hindrance to be able to do that. So giving birth to a new business, giving birth to a new romance, giving birth to a child, giving birth to a sort of a creative project that you've been looking to do. This has to be laced with your brand of creativity, your stamp of creativity, whether it is in field of romance, children, business, or creative project. It will have your stamp on it, and it will be something that will make you happy that you took a risk on yourself, that you took a bet on yourself over the course of last 1.5 years, and you invested into it. And the most beautiful thing about it is that Venus and Jupiter come together, and it comes with the sort of the immediate windfall of some sort of positive sign that comes with it, that you are going in the right direction. This is especially true if you have any planets around 17 or 16 degree of Aries, which means that you're born around 6th or 7th of April. Then Venus and Jupiter coming together on 22nd of January is happening on your sun, or on your point, essentially on your ascendant or moon. And that is beautiful. These two are the benefic. I just spoke about it in detail as well. It will manifest in form of you getting an opportunity of more adventure, or something coming to fruition that will give you more recognition in the world, that will sort of give you more acceptance at a collective level in terms of the authority of your skill set. Now, this is a Leo eclipse. So as I said, I mean, there's a little bit of over the top energy that always comes with a Leo eclipse. You would have seen that in the July, August, although the aspects that are coming with this eclipse are very, very beneficial. And Leo eclipse is very beneficial overall for you. It's your fellow creative sign, fellow fire sign, so the aspects are supportive of you. I'll give you some of the things in terms of how this eclipse is coming as a series, so you understand maybe at a grander level beyond your personal life where it can affect you. The first thing to note is that it is part of a Soros series 134. So eclipses happen in the same place physically and astrologically every 19 years. So this last happened on 21st of January 2000. So you can maybe look back in 2000, early 2000, what kind of changes happen in your life if you're old enough to look at that. If not that far, if that is too far to look, it is for me. I can understand if it is for you. Looking at 2008 or 9, because that is when the reverse of it happened. So something that you created maybe in 2008 or 9 that has to undergo change. There is a possibility of that. Like Leo rules financial institutions and banking, and the rulers. The rules around financial institutions were created in 2008 and 9 as a result of the financial crisis. So there is a talk of modification of that. The volatility in the thing that was created in 2008 or 9 might be expected around this time. At a macro level, this eclipse in 2000 was associated with environmental change, and there is a possibility of this causing that because it's coming with Uranus, which is attached with sudden changes in the surface of the earth in form of earthquake and flooding. So there is a risk involved with it, and I'm sorry to say that, but we have to look back astronomy wise as well. When it happened, and the eclipse will be visible in North America and South of America, in the West largely. So the western part of the world, we need to be careful if we are in an area which is exposed to earthquakes or flooding around that time. Unfortunately, the earthquake that happened in Haiti in South of America happened around the last eclipse that happened on 25th of January 2000, which was a part of the similar series. Apart from that, a few things that we need to be careful about, because it's a very powerful eclipse. But the positive side of it is that it brings your creativity out. It will give birth to something that you've been looking to do. And it is a very powerful eclipse. It gives life to something more permanent, long lasting, and it is a result of sheer power, sheer potential, sheer outburst of your personal potential coming out. So it is a very ambitious, very much over the top, but very directional and actional eclipse, which is causing permanent changes in your life. Which is full of freedom, full of excitement, full of ending the old, stale things in your life. So there's a growth that is happening towards the future. But because of it being an eclipse on a physical level, there's a pressure that builds up, and that is what I want to warn you about. So we are careful and prepared about it. The first thing to do is avoid heat and drink a lot of water when that happens, because eclipses in Leo are heaty in nature. You can look back July, August, it was anyways a time when we have heat waves, but drought was caused as a result of eclipse at that time. So super hot weather and drought is attached with Leo eclipses. We need to be a little bit careful around that. The extreme weather changes and protests. So if there are any areas you are in where protests are possible, being careful about that, avoiding crowds too much where political demonstration is possible. Spend time with your children. It's a beautiful time to spend time with romantic partners, with children at the time. It is very supportive of that. Taking care of your heart health, especially you have blood pressure issues at the time, very, very highly suggested. High blood pressure, migraine, temper issues, if any, or spinal cord or back pains. If you have any of those, these are attached to anger, stored anger. Leo eclipses enhance heat and anger and power surges. So we need to be careful about these things. I'm sorry, it sounds like a very bad thing, but there's something that we need to be careful about. Doesn't mean these things happen with each one of us, but it's something to be careful about. So power surges, if you're using ovens in the house, being careful of not overheating the ovens around 21st of January, a day or two ahead of that as well. Taking care of your heart health, taking care of taking enough rest, taking care if you're invested in stock market, because Uranus meeting the nodes is known to cause volatility, and that is one of the reasons at a macroeconomic level why it might be causing the volatility in the stock market, because Uranus is very, very strong this month. So the volatility in the political environment, economy, banking industry and stock market is attached with Leo eclipses as well. So this is but a beautiful, beautiful eclipse from a personal perspective, from creative perspective, from giving birth to something that you've been looking at. We've been talking about it for last couple of months, and finally it's happening, and I'm happy about that. We have Sun and Mercury meeting together in your social houses on 29th of January. So after the sort of the changes, now is the time to start socializing. It will be more a theme of February, but from 27th onwards, you'll feel this need to interact with other people, to tell them what you're trying to do, and hence the effectiveness of this new start that you have. Meeting people at a much larger scale through internet or through publication, through launching something or setting the floor to launch something. 29th of January is a great day to meet somebody on that. 1st of February is Mars and Pluto clash. So there is heightened ambition. Of course, there's a rise of ambition which Pluto comes with, but there is a possibility of over-the-top conflict happening towards the end of the month, around 31st of January, that we need to be careful about. But this is a great aspect for ambition. This is a great aspect for focused action. And after 21st and 22nd is all about action anyways. You want to sort of work on this. This eclipse will have the effects over the next 6 months, but you'll see the immediate effects in 2 to 4 weeks itself, because it's a fire sign eclipse. So the effects are seen immediately. The actions are seen immediately, even though they have long-term repercussion on us. So this is the rest of January. I'm sorry if it was very long. I wanted to just, if there's an eclipse, I like to cover it in detail so we are aware of it. I generally try to go more in detail so it helps somebody. I hope it helps somebody. Thank you so much. Happy New Year again, and hope you take care of yourself and have a great new start with these eclipses. Thank you.